The Bitcoin ETF is going to set off an explosion in the crypto markets. But will the biggest gainer going to be Bitcoin or could it possibly be Ethereum instead? We're going to look at some figures. We're going to look at some patterns. We're going to look at some breakouts. It's time to discover crypto.
Capital flight is coming to the United States. The dollar is going to zero.
And that's what makes Bitcoin so special.
You have to have gone through a couple cycles to understand.
Once the price is able to clear this level, the breakout is on its way.
This is your indication to jump in now.
How are we all doing today? We got Drew and Kelly on the ones and twos. Did you two have a great day?
You know what? It's starting. I need to eat some food, but we were both just talking about that. But the markets, it's getting exciting as that gets closer and closer to that potential spot ETF. What does it mean to markets? I know I'm in a long right now on Bitcoin. Move my stop loss up. We'll jump into that in a little bit too.
Ooh, congrats. But let's talk about Ethereum for a second. For 2024, what is going to be in store? Is it going to go less or is it going to go more? Here we have a little article. Is 2024 going to be Ethereum's year or Solana's? We've talked about Solana a lot, so I want to kind of jump to the Ethereum analysis here. In contrast to Solana, Ethereum enjoyed a rebound year in 2023, but analysts are expecting it to jump to $5,000 in 2024. And some are saying a bull top, if we get an extended bull period, a possible $8,000 Ethereum. I feel like 8,000 is definitely doable in even 2025. But these aren't just regular people. We're talking about a JP Morgan analyst. They're saying, my favorite word of the year, proto-dank sharding. Again, we got to get it on some t-shirts, folks. Let me know. I'll wear a proto-dank sharding t-shirt any day of the week because that's what retail is going to get excited about. The upgrade might catalyze a price jump to 8,000 as well. And then we got the managing director at JP Morgan. This isn't just, the intern. This isn't the Cointelegraph intern controlling the X account. This is a managing director there. They said it's even possible for them to enjoy a superior performance to Bitcoin. And then they have another analyst point out a bullish triangle pattern, and a breakout from this pattern might result in big gains for ETH. And before I pass it to Kelly, he's going to look at some of these charts. I've said it before, I'll say it again. In the past year, Solana has done an 11x. Bitcoin's done a 3x. Ethereum's only done a 2x. So what does that mean for Ethereum in 2024? Is it going to continue that trend, or is it going to peel back some of these multiples from some of these other assets? But I want to know about this bullish triangle pattern. Is there a breakout? Is it about a breakout? I mean, how are you feeling about Ethereum right now?
I'm feeling very bullish on Ethereum going into this year, because remember, the majority, larger than any ecosystem in crypto, is, everything's built on top of Ethereum. And so if we throw to this chart right here and we start first looking at the ETH to Bitcoin chart, I just want to point a couple things out. We have the Bitcoin halvings marked out here just to see if there's any sort of relationship to what's going on. It doesn't really quite look like there is anything that stands out. But when we look at these, a couple different trend lines I have here, this is one I think that you had pointed out a long time ago, which goes all the way back to December 16. It even goes back to 15 if we draw it further back. But I've got a couple different areas of support and resistance here. And there's a bit of a confluence here with this one that goes all the way back to July 2016. And this one that comes back, we could really extend this even further back there, back here to December 2016. I just want to point out, in this regionally, the ETH to Bitcoin pairing has come down and found some pretty good support as it stands. And what I really like about this is on this chart, this isn't just coming straight down any longer. What this looks like is it's coming down and forming a bit of a base in this region, which is giving me some indication that we may be in store for a move on Ethereum. And yes, we could talk about it against ETH USD, USDT, or in this case, when we're looking at the Bitcoin pairing, we can see that this is suggesting that we may be in store for a move where Ethereum outperforms Bitcoin in some sort of period of time here in the near future. Now, this is going to be a hard thing to sort of contextualize when we're also considering that the Bitcoin spot ETFs may be days, minutes, moments, or even weeks away. Who knows? We're not going to know until it launches. But I do think we're going to see a large impulse, a bullish impulse in Bitcoin. However, I do think that's going to be a little bit short-lived. I don't think it's going to perform immediately as everybody wants it to, and I think there is going to be a little bit of capital flow, and Ethereum will get a bit of move. What do you think about that?
Oh, I do know. DZ does know it is happening January 10th. I'll eat my hair if it doesn't happen. So that'll be all right. Well, actually, I was going back and forth with some of the Bloomberg analysts on X today, and I'll just highlight our little conversation here. I saw this tweet, and I decided to quote tweet it, and Eric responded. So shout out to Eric. We should have James Seifert on tomorrow. So we're pretty excited about that as a Bloomberg ETF analyst. Well, someone said, just filing out some forms. Who is this someone? Because I saw James reply, and I was like, wait a minute. Anyone outside of crypto world that sees this tweet with over 2,500 likes, probably wondering what the heck is going on over here. And we highlight their account here, Chief Legal Officer of Grayscale, the Chief Legal Officer of Grayscale. And so I retweeted that. Grayscale's head of legal is posting about filing forms. Bitcoin ETF approval seems imminent. James and Eric's January 10th predictions likely. And he is saying, yes, pretty much imminent. But that being said, the forms that he is filing out or filling out right now don't equal approval, but they are part of the normal prep process. So that is good. Housefire, smarmy marketing and hype generation. I'm feeling pretty good about this, though. I'm feeling more and more likely we are going to see this ETF approval. I'm feeling more and more likely there's going to be a surprise breakout of a coin. I do think Bitcoin, with gold ETF approval, we had 2 weeks of green candles. I expect something, pretty positive action for Bitcoin, but I do think in my gut, I could see ETH outperforming.
Well, I mean, getting back to the chart, we didn't look at Ethereum to US dollars. Yeah, I mean, this is a triangle I think you're talking about. We have flat level of resistance, rising level of support. We've already broken out of this, and we are in process of kind of really chopping in this zone and testing this, flipping this previous resistance to support. Now, one of the things I think everybody needs to really consider here, regardless of Bitcoin being the focus here in terms of the institutional side and all these Bitcoin spot ETFs, right here at the threshold on the horizon of just really exploding when we get those approvals. That doesn't mean Bitcoin is the only thing that's going to run. I think we're going to see a industry-wide, a crypto-wide ecosystem sort of push to the upside. What's going to be really interesting to me is that little debate that you have back and forth with TA Tim. It's going to be interesting to see if Bitcoin does have a period of time that it truly does outrun and we see that dominance explode. Because remember, even if that happens, it's an okay thing if you understand these markets. Because if we do see Bitcoin dominance explode, that could be a setup for then later capital flows and just awareness in the market, new people coming in and seeing further explosions in those smaller cap coins.
Yeah, no, I'll just play out a scenario. You're BlackRock, you have the Bitcoin ETF. All the news is generating lots of hype. We kind of teleported, it felt like, from 30 to 45 over a matter of weeks, months. And you think you have your ETH ETF approval coming down the line. 575 is BlackRock record for ETF approvals. After Bitcoin, they have ETH in the pipeline. So why not 576 to 1, then 577 to 1? All the attention is on Bitcoin. ETH is kind of lagging behind. You have trillions in assets. You're going to probably spend millions here. Why not add some ETH exposure in anticipation of now it's ETH's time to shine? I really feel that that's going to happen. We do have a little bit of headlines here before we get into the, well, you know what? X that. Let's go into the charts. I want to give you guys an update as well. Let's go ahead and hit refresh. Just make sure we have the fresh data because now Bitcoin is up from 3.4%. Now it is up 4%, everybody. The entire market is up about 4.4%. ETH 2.7%. Solana stealing some thunder here, up 6.2%. Cardano lagging behind, but Avalanche doing pretty well as well. It is up 5.7%. But what's outperforming? Beam. What have I been talking about for weeks, Drew, Kelly?
Beam. Those eyes have been beaming, baby.
I've been telling everybody about Beam. I've been screaming from the mountaintops. In fact, I think I recommended 1 or 2 coins yesterday, and Beam was one of the coins. So go ahead, pat yourselves on the back if you jumped in on the Beam bandwagon in the last week or so. I know I feel underexposed. I just moved a little bit of funds. I bought another coin yesterday, TIA. TIA was the other coin I bought. And look at the number 2 gainer. It is literally Celestia. I only bought it was double digits. It was on the lower end. It was definitely closer to 10 than it was to 99. Bought a little TIA as well. So I'm feeling pretty good about that. So congrats, everybody. Hit that like button. Let us know in the comments. Did you buy some Beam? Did you buy some TIA in the last week? So you're feeling pretty good if you did. Aptos is also up. Injective, is up 16%. We have Stacks just continuing to stack. Near Protocol, nearly in the top 5. And Oasis, they're riding the wave as well. And Osmo is up 10%. ARB is up. And Say is up. All right, well, we're feeling good. Now let's hit the losers. Nothing really, baby. We have Mantles down a little bit, XDC. Chile, I've not heard of Chile. What is Chile? I like saying it.
I thought you were mispronouncing chilies.
No. What are your thoughts on chilies? Good? You like it? Chili's good?
You know what? There was a big initiative towards the tokenization like rally and chilies play, but I feel like it's getting a little bit diluted in the fact that there's so many different protocols people can use. It's hard to really put weight behind. I don't know. It'd be a very, 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 very small percentage of my portfolio if I were to hold it.
All right. Was reading last night, BlackRock's supposed to buy tomorrow, the 5th, to seed their fund. It was pushed back from Tuesday. Yeah, we were talking about that yesterday as well. Surprised it's a green day considering that. I do want to do a quick update on the 10K portfolio. We made some moves. I'm going to go ahead, let you know that video should be out the next day or two. We took some profits. We took some Say profits. Then we took some Snake profits and we put it into GMX. I think that's the newer one right there. I believe so. You have to watch that video to get all the details. So we're moving around. We got some moves being made, but the market is moving a lot harder than a lot of the traders were expecting. $100 billion washout. But hey, that was just normal activity for a big green day like today. Let me move this a little. Is that better? All right, there we go. I like that. All right. Also, Bitcoin bull market metrics almost reset as Bitcoin price hovers around 43K. Bitcoin shedding allowed, price upside to regroup. And we're seeing that today with the bullish action. Are you expecting more volatility as we get nearer to 50K?
I think there's going to be volatility, even surrounding this potential, the spot ETF launch. Everybody thinks it's just going to, rocket to the upside. And I really want to put a warning out there for everybody, especially if you're leverage trading. Remember, leverage trading is a tool. And we just saw, we had $500 million washed out of the market, flushing of that open interest. So many people trying to front run this and just capture it with this leverage so that they can become rich. If you're trying to get rich by actively engaging with that emotion, that's when you donate your money to the game. Don't do that. Because I think even in the event that we get some sort of approval, there's large enough market makers that are out there that could absolutely see that open interest flying and send price the other direction, and essentially cause a bear trap, and then continue on the direction you thought it was going to go. So be patient. I do think there's going to be some volatility, especially when we get up to 48 to 50 because of the golden pocket. Oh, yeah. You're definitely going to be a lot of trading activity. Regards to Portugal as well. Thank you, Antonio. All right. And Tig, hey to you as well. Great character on Sons of Anarchy. All right, let's talk about the SEC here, our favorite government entity. We always love the SEC. Did you cover everything you need to in charts? Anything else? Didn't even start.
Oh, we didn't even start. It was that breakout triangle. I was like, you know what? I feel like Kelly always has more alpha. Why does he have so little alpha for us today? And you got to show off. Can you show off that Blofin trade? Or, I mean,
yeah. I mean, here
is
we go.
Is it in negative now? Do you not want to show it? You're not in profit. Don't lie.
I'm up 22%, 23%.
All right. Good job.
There we go.
Man.
I just looking at the chart before we went, and I use something that I call the stoplight action protocol, where I look for a number of different things to give me a confluence of data to say, this is when I get the green light to pull that trigger. And in this
stoplight action protocol, that's just you hit your brakes.
No, you hit the brakes on making bad decisions.
Oh, I like that. Yeah. I like that. No, you don't look both sides and see if you can run it.
No. We want to make sure the light's green. We want to look both ways on the road to make sure that there's no traffic, or if there is traffic, it's going in the direction that we want to go. But it's all about understanding the trend you're in.
Well, I was going to say, if you are watching the show, you're in a vehicle, you don't have to hit the like button. Pay attention to the road. We got someone in the chat. They're operating heavy crane equipment. Be careful out there. Be careful operating heavy equipment on volatile days. All right. Maybe hide your portfolio from yourself so you don't end up pulling bulldozer man moment or anything like that. That was for Drew. All right, but I'm sorry to step on you. What do we got in the charts, Kelly?
So what we're looking at right now, the price action is starting to make a little bit of a move up. We can see this, trading here on Blofin. By the way, sign up with the Blofin link down below. We do a trading competition every week. If you share your P&L, which is right here on this little square, when you're done, you can, basically download this, share it, and hashtag Discover Crypto. We give away $500 a week for the person with the largest game. But looking at the charts, we were talking about Ethereum earlier. We have had this incredible bullish impulse to the upside, and it bounced right off this lower level support, this rising support, and we broke through this flat level of resistance, really showing that we're getting a bullish initiative going. It doesn't mean it's going to run away from here, but we're building that stair step that we want to do for healthy bullish price action. This does not mean the price action cannot still come back down here to the 2100s, maybe even below, but this is looking very bullish to me. Any downside from here, I'm feeling very good about. Shared this in the Discord yesterday as well, and I'm talking about this on a daily basis. These are the three levels I'm really watching here. Down here, the 39.6. I still have a feeling that we may fill this out, but as the closer we get to these spot ETFs, the less confidence I have in that, because there's just lack of willingness to sell. We even see it in on-chain data where this flush out to the downside was retail, people with weak hands. Are you a weak-handed person, or do you have a vision for what you want to do with this portfolio? Holders did not participate in this capitulation here. In fact, there was bids coming in, which is why we had this huge wick to the downside that was just bought up by bulls. So I'm watching on this push up. Can we clear this level right here, 44.6, because this is a previous highs, and it's also the low of this M formation right here. This is really the area I'm watching. Can we clear this? And then if we do, when we get up to this level, what does the underlying data say? Because we don't just look at price. We look at the price in relationship to the data and how that's responded over time. So we know getting up to this level, maybe this feels high, 45.4, 45.6, 45.9. But if the strength underlying that is suggesting weakness, we have to pay attention to that, because I do think with all these institutions and all this big money that's ready to come in, they want to do anything they can to chop you out. So watch for a bit of a fake out in both directions, I think, through all this, this next week.
I opened a scalp short real quick on Cardano. Just scalp. I'm watching it tight. I mean, if you could share we're in it. We're in a little bit of profit, not by much, but, we're going to continue to monitor this. And once we get a little bit of movement to the downside, maybe past that wick, I'll go ahead and move the stop loss into profit to guarantee that this turns into a green trade, a trade that makes me money. So
yeah, I want to say something about that as well. So you see on my trade here, I've already moved my stop loss into profit. And I want you to notice something. I have my stop loss. I could put it all the way up here and maybe get wicked out, and then the price continues up. So what I'm doing here, I'm in profit if this does just shoot to the downside. But if these two candles, if this closes, and this is on the 15-minute chart, if this starts reversing back to the upside, I will move my stop loss up here, roughly below where the close of this lowest candle was. And that way I can still make sure that I'm taking advantage of price action as it goes to the upside and moving my stop loss along with it. Now you could put a trailing stop in as well, but I just from legacy, I like to do this more manually. So I can take advantage of not getting.
I like doing that too. I like doing it too. It's just something about here. We'll share my screen. It's something about moving the lines. Like I'm like, yeah, good. We get to play with it. Let's get above that wick, baby.
It does.
All right, cool.
Yeah, but yeah, let's. We got to, Oh, the last thing I wanted to share was this right here. One more.
The secret chart. I had to convince you to share. Everybody, it was so good.
Well, this is from our boy Caleb Franzen.
We love Caleb.
He was showing basically these anchored VWAPs right here that were basically present very good buying opportunities. And if we look at where these essentially are in price action on the chart, and we look in relationship to the last range high, this is that area that a lot of people don't want to believe that we could go down to this level, which is at $32,000 level. But these over here, these anchor VWAPs are all the way up at 36. And I noticed on this, and I shared in a tweet following back to him, that the short-term holder cost basis is right at that level of the anchored VWAP. So I say this out of bullish optimism that if the price does come down to these levels, it's wonderful that not only is it above this previous range high, but we have the anchor VWAP and the short-term holder cost basis at this level, giving us a barrier from the bears taking over and giving us an idea of some great opportunities. If you want to put some limit orders in case we get one of those quick flush downs, you can take advantage of that opportunity.
All right. And speaking of taking advantage of an opportunity, the SEC doesn't lose a chance to take advantage of an opportunity to try to strangle crypto in the crib. Because, I guess Bitcoin is now driving a vehicle. So it's still like trying to strangle Bitcoin as it's a teenager. All right. Well, the SEC holds urgent meeting with NASDAQ and the New York Stock Exchange to discuss Bitcoin ETFs. I would say this is making it look more and more likely we're getting January 10th approval. They also met with the Chicago Board Options Exchange regarding spot ETFs here. This was revealed by Fox Business journalist. It was Eleanor Terrett, friend of the channel, also been on ATB. If you're not following ATB, make sure you do that. This report triggered a major liquidation in today's market. The crypto market lost more than $540 million in just 4 hours. That was off the Matrix Port report there. People tagging me like crazy on this rejection report. We've heard nothing to indicate anything but approval, but I want to give the guy benefit of the doubt. So I'm asking if he has any sources or if he's just speculating. Seems to be a Bitcoin bull. So people, the rejection, there's a lot of clatter. Oh, rejection likely. And then the people in the know, the people who know about the meetings, the people who are rubbing the elbows, they're looking around like, where the hell are you getting this idea from? And then, that's when we end up seeing $1 billion liquidated from these traders. Was it coordinated FUD? Was it some sort of pump and dump scheme? Or was it a scheme? Did it feel fishy to you, Drew?
It did. I mean, it really did. It's been talking about just a chance for BlackRock to cook the price down a little bit before they hammer in. And I know it's rumored that they're going to be seeding on the 5th. So, we'll see. It'll be interesting to see if they buy at these levels, which, I mean, all the work has been done to make it happen. So,
well, one of the things I think is interesting about it is everybody's kind of laughing that I think it's Bitwise has around $200 million that they're, speculated to be seeding their ETF with, and BlackRock only 10 million. And one of the things that James, I'm sure we'll talk about this tomorrow. We were on a Spaces together yesterday, and he had mentioned that the interesting thing about it is it doesn't really benefit one way or the other if you have a huge seeding round or seeding that ETF a huge amount before. It actually could be a little bit detrimental because it will show that it will affect what your fund flows are initially. Now you could have an institutional custodian, that you're partnered with, that on the launch of the ETF, you have your minimum or whatever you need to. In this case, let's say 10 million for BlackRock, but you have an institutional person that you can go and make those buys from immediately right after, which also could theoretically then also raise your flows, which I know as the ETF launch, because this is the same thing that happened with Bitto, the futures ETF. As they launch, people are going to have their eyes like hawks on what the flow of funds are in that, what the volume is on that, because if it's anything less than astronomical, everybody's gonna be like, oh, it failed, and it's gonna be a catalyst for a potential drop. But by the way, if that happens, that's an opportunity, because this may not explode absolute with all capital flow as soon as all these ETFs are launched. But this is the highway that's being paved, that's going to be not only institutional money coming in, retail money coming in, but also index funds, hedge funds, people getting exposure in their broader financial products to Bitcoin. So we're going to be seeing a lot of funds increase over time. So even if those funds are even if those flows to the Bitcoin spot ETFs are low at the beginning, this is only going to increase over time.
All right. Jesse Pinkman has a question here. Do you think that Bitcoin ETF will stabilize the markets? No more big cycles up and down. I think we're kind of already heading towards normalization of the markets, where the bull top and the bear bottom, that gulf is shrinking and shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. So that's going to just continue. But yes, it will slightly reduce volatility. I think the 40% pullbacks become 20% pullbacks, 25% pullbacks. The 90% drawdowns, which then became 85% drawdowns, might become 60% drawdowns, 50% drawdowns.
Well, the bigger money market makers that you have, market makers, that's the word I was looking for, that you have in the space, as well as these huge institutional players, they know how to arbitrage the asset. So, this is one of those things that will shrink some of the volatility, because these institutional players will be playing both long and short side in the same trade. They'll be having basically playing that spread, that those what do you call it? The funding fees.
Yeah.
So they're taking advantage of that, which also helps not only put liquidity in the order books, but also limits the amount of volatility over time that will happen the more players you have with these huge funds that are participating in the market.
All right, well, speaking of the market, what is the market going to do to the normies, to the retail, to the non-crypto holders, to the people that maybe heard about it but don't know if it's good or not? Is it rat poison? I've heard a lot of different things. Well, non-crypto owners more likely to invest if a spot Bitcoin ETF gets approved, a poll shows. I don't think that's any big surprise here. They polled 1,500 Americans, and 21% of the people not currently owning crypto, they will be more likely to invest. So we got 1 out of 5. Oh, BlackRock's in. I've seen more and more talk on my favorite news channel that I watch on the daily. Okay. I think I'll move the needle. To me, 1 in 5 seems a little bit low. But then I guess if you go to a normal D&B, post office, Walmart, and you say, do you know who BlackRock is? How many people would even know that?
I think it'd be a pretty small percentage. In our world, it feels like everybody does.
Yeah, we're tapped in. You're smart. We got a smart chat here, so we know, of course we know BlackRock. It's evil. They're buying up all the houses, making rent unaffordable for a lot of newer millennials, entering the housing market. They buy a lot of assets. They push these narratives behind the scenes. A lot of people are going to say, you mean like asphalt? What are we talking about here? What Black Rock? Plymouth Rock? What? Who? So that would be more people. So we're in a bubble.
Comment here for Mark White. He said, I wonder why it's so easy to buy Bitcoin. What's interesting about that? I think that's a bubble for us too. I was out with somebody last night and we were talking about Bitcoin, and as aware of it as I am, it seems like other people would be aware, and she had no idea. She was so lost in the idea of what Bitcoin even was, and if there was even an easy process to do it. So there's a huge gap that we still have in education, and basically mitigating a lot of the ignorance out there and the misinformation that has been spread for the last 5 years, even by people like Jamie Dimon and Larry Fink, who are now actively participating in Bitcoin. So we've got some work to do, but that means you, if you're watching here right now, hit the like button, because you are ahead of the institutions. You're ahead of the pack.
All right. Speaking ahead of the pack, Drew, are you ready to talk about flat earthers? Someone say, oh, they're so far ahead of the pack.
Well,
they're on
dude,
another dimension.
There's flat earthers all around the world.
There's a world behind you too.
It's a global phenomenon, right?
Yeah. It's all around the world.
All right. It's all, they're all around us. They would say, is Antarctica? Yeah, I'm just kidding. Well, deniers, the ETF deniers, they're calling them the crypto flat earthers.
Brutal.
So if you don't think an ETF's happening on January 10th, you basically think the Earth is a disc.
It's a little much.
They think it's a disc,
That's
right?
a little much.
I don't know what they think.
I mean, they're reasonable for expecting some pain and waiting for an ETF. Through the history of the SEC, we might finally be able to have nice things. But
when you said they're reasonable, I thought you were going to talk about flat earthers. They're reasonable with their findings.
No, not at all.
How thick is the disk, and what do they think about other planets? That's my main two questions.
Well, on that note, here's a tweet from Tom Crown a couple of weeks ago. This proves the flat Earth thing wrong just right out the bat. And
dude, that's part of their agenda. They secretly bury the ones in the back a little bit deeper. And what you think is spinning, optical illusion.
Oh yeah,
it's chopping through the water.
But what
speed.
I do respect
Sorry,
about it,
whale.
though, what I do respect about it, though, even though I don't agree with it, I respect the fact that they're questioning the narratives that have been taught to us. Right? I respect that nature, but when you have so much evidence to the contrary, then it kind of blows my mind.
I met one time, and she's like, "Well, what do you think about this?" I immediately was like, "Whoa!" And I could tell she's like, "Oh God." She's like, no, like instantly retreated. But then I could tell, like, still. All right, let's talk about a macro guru here, Lynn Alden, saying $100,000 Bitcoin would be disappointing for a bull market cycle. And here's her target. So she's saying 100K. That's FUD. 100K is not going to be high enough. So for her spectrum for 2024, 2025, she's saying a current rally of about 340%. So hopefully 6 figures. I think something like 100K plus would be kind of disappointing. So I kind of hope for 200K or more over the next 2+ years. 200K, I'm starting to come in a little bit more bullish than I was, say, 1 year ago. When we hit 16K, I was pretty bearish, folks. I looked at 20K to 70K top. I was like, all right, that's a 3.5x from 2017 top, 21 top, 3.5x. Then I was like, well, I'm kind of just going to cut it in half because the previous one was a 7x. 7x cut in half, 3.5x. Let's just cut it in half again. 1.75x times 70K. It's only around $105,000 Bitcoin. So I was actually pretty bearish a year ago. I would have said 2025 top, 105 Bitcoin. Coming in a little more bullish now, though.
Well, look at this chart right here. So I just did a Fibonacci from the top here in the 2017 cycle to the bottom. And I would argue, and Dr. Jeff Booth, also Dr. Jeff Ross, can't remember, Dr. Jeff had suggested.
Jeff Bezos?
No, he's a hedge fund manager. But this move right here, I still think, even though this is what's on the chart, I think this was cut a little short because of the Chinese mining ban right here. Now, there's two things to argue here in terms of, can we have a larger market cycle push in this current cycle? One would say, well, there's more monetary energy needed, but in the same breath, we can also say we're about to have potentially 11 to 14 Bitcoin spot ETFs, which is going to give that capital flow to really, make things have that sort of fuel to have the move. Now, in the previous cycle, from the top to the bottom, this came up to a little bit past the 3.618. If we just did that and didn't get a larger move, that's 207,000. If we get higher, we go into the 4 or 5.618. That's up to 260 or 300,000. Now, I'm not going to call for these because I would rather call for 140 to 190 somewhere in there, and then have it blown out of the water and go above. But I think a lot of people got a little bit truncated. They're a little bit more conservative now because of the lack of hitting 100,000 in the last cycle, where everybody thought it was going to hit.
Yeah, everybody. So another good question, I guess, Jim. We've opened a can of worms. We've opened Pandora's box with the flat Earth comments. That's on me.
Oh, yeah.
Why haven't we gone to the moon in 50 years?
It's a valid question. We haven't solved male pattern baldness yet, but
Hey,
we're
is that a dig on me here?
I mean, no.
If I had to give an adult answer on why we haven't been there, it's because the percentage of GDP that the Apollo program cost. I pulled up a figure right
like
here.
2 or 3%, wasn't it?
Right in there. Good job, Kelly. 25 billion when our GDP was around a trillion. Wait a minute. No, 1,000 billion. So that would be a trillion right there. 2.5% of our GDP annually over that decade. Have you seen what our interest payments relative to military spending has been? We're actually spending more on interest payments than we are our military budget. So, hey, maybe we've just drove ourselves off a fiscal cliff. We just don't know it yet. We're the Looney Tunes cartoon that hasn't looked down yet, some would say. All right. Well, we got the crypto bubble stuff as well. I'll talk about that real quick. So was it Scott Melker, I think, had some pretty good predictions here. All right. So Scott Melker was talking to ex-Goldman Sachs executive, I believe. The Real Vision chief executive. He was on with Raoul Paul here, ex-Goldman Sachs executive. And he has 3 potential situations that might happen with the Bitcoin cycle. 60% normal cycle, 20% shorter, 20% insane, extended cycle. So here's his quote here. 60% of it's a regular cycle, somewhat like the last one, but a bit more like the previous, like 2017. Then 20%, it all gets front loaded because we got all the retail demand. I would say BlackRock ETF would be the culprit there. And then shorter than expected. And then the other outcome, the other 20% chance, gigantic bubble cycle, similar to the 2013, 2015 tops. Because then now everyone could participate and total madness will ensue. I'm feeling like normal cycle.
I think normal with a little bit more excitement because of the ETF flows. But I will say that when we have this idea of a super cycle or something that's like does outperform a previous cycle, I think this is probably one of our last opportunities over the next 15 to 20 years, because we're at that point of S-curve adoption where we're about to have a huge flood of not only institutions, but also retail coming in. That adoption curve is going to explode here and in this cycle, I think. And so after this, I think it's going to get back to just being diminishing returns for the foreseeable future.
All right. Well, speaking of diminishing returns, we have our budget, our fiscal policy here. And the Fed minutes, it all wraps up together. Highly anticipated Fed minutes were released. Here are the details from Jerome Powell. In case you didn't catch Tom Crown's live stream there, some participants said interest rate could remain at its peak for longer than expected, but the Fed think it will be restricted for a while. Authorities admitted cuts until the end of 24, saying the rate was probably at or near its peak. Also, clear progress that the 2% inflation target here. Sort of GDP growth will cool and a rebalancing of the labor market. Only there's like a huge catalyst to our labor market happening every day. Just almost like the labor market is just having a dynamic shift. Anyways, I digress there. Authorities believe the risks to inflation and employment are moving towards balance, kind of to what I was referring to earlier. Restrictive policy stands to continue. And then we'll kind of scroll to the bottom here. Further interest rate increases may be appropriate. So we're going to get some cuts probably sooner than expected. That's my prediction here. And cuts until the end of 24. Hey, when's our election?
It's November. At the end of 2024.
Oh, so Q4 2024.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, that's coincidental, correct? Because the cuts will probably help juice the economy in the short term, and some would say damage in the long term. Just coincidental, though. All right, Euro. First, I don't want to look shame, but when you see someone and you're like, they just look like, they are rude to the waitstaff.
She might bite you.
She looks like she's rude to the waitstaff. And I know I'm projecting here. I used to be a waiter, a bartender and stuff. Not at Chuck E. Cheese. I served beer at Chuck E. Cheese. Yeah, I was a bartender at Chuck E. Cheese. As weird as that sentence sounds. She just looks like she's rude to the waitress or the waiter.
Well,
Am I wrong? Am I right here?
You're dead on.
It's one of these, like when they come up, she's just like,
Lucille Bluth. There's some strong Lucille Bluth vibes here. Well, the ECB president, Lagarde, calls euro the world's second most important currency. Meanwhile, Xi Jinping's like, what about me? What about me? The president of the ECB calling the euro second most important currency. They're saying we have the euro has given the EU greater sovereignty in a turbulent world since its issuance 25 years ago. So yeah, now the euro is now 25 years old. It can rent a car now. During what was one of the euro's worst period, the currency, which commenced trading with an exchange rate of £1 or €1 to $1.17, nearly reached parity as of October 23rd, is however recovered and is now trading around a euro equals $1.11. So obviously they want the euro to equal as high as many dollars as possible. As we get that parity, it's better for the dollar. We would like it to be in the cents there. We have this Michael Saylor meme here. There is no second best. I haven't watched this. Now I saw you and Johnny plotting and scheming and planning over there, man. Should we buckle up here? Should people be sitting down? Is this the most exciting video of 24?
It might be, but before you throw to that, I just want to point out it was Dr. Jeff Ross. He posted something that I thought was interesting. And this goes for the euro, this goes for the dollar, this goes for any fiat currency. It shows right here, the US dollar prices go up for it is a prices go up forever technology. Bitcoin is a prices go down forever technology. If you're curious about this, Google buying power of Bitcoin over time. You can also do buying power of Bitcoin versus US dollar, and you'll see that you've only year over year been able to buy more and more stuff with Bitcoin with less Bitcoin. Whereas with the dollar, you always need more dollars to buy the same amount of stuff. So this is a perfect example of why you should be stacking into your future.
You know, my favorite metric of that is, let's see, I think this would be, the cost of an iPhone in Bitcoin. The first, when Bitcoin first had an iPhone out, the 4S, 162 Bitcoin. Could you do me a favor and the viewers of Solid here? Could you multiply 162 by the current price? And we'll see, you know, I imagine there has to be someone. There has to be some nerd out there. There has to be some Bitcoin, you know, OG crypto punk that had just a lot of Bitcoin and said, you know what? I want that new iPhone. I'm going to sell my 162 Bitcoin and I'm going to buy this iPhone.
It's the best iPhone ever. It's the best iPhone ever. It's an iPhone worth $7,128,000.
$7,128,000. That's a $7 million iPhone.
Yeah.
Should we just pour one out for that iPhone right there? Oh, I got the keyboard in front of me, then my lap. I don't want to pour water on either one of those. That would be awkward for the next video. All right, let's see. Where were we on that? Okay, here's the most exciting video you'll ever see.
It may or may not work. Let's go.
Well, now Drew's saying maybe not. I don't know.
Which one's the best crypto asset? Well, Bitcoin's the best crypto asset. Okay. What's the second best? There is no second best. There's no second best crypto asset. There's a crypto asset. It's called Bitcoin, right? Right? There's no second best, okay? But take all your money, buy Bitcoin. Take all your time, figure out how to borrow more money to buy more Bitcoin. Then take all your time and figure out what you can sell to buy Bitcoin. And if you absolutely love the thing that you don't want to sell it, go mortgage your house and buy Bitcoin with it. And if you've got a business that you love because your family works for the business, it's in your family for 37 years, and you can't bear to sell it, mortgage it, finance it, and convert.
Yeah, your family business for 37 years. You can't stand to sell it. Mortgage it. Buy more Bitcoin. You know what, man? The guy is putting his money where his mouth is. He just did a $217 million sale of his stock options to buy more Bitcoin. Personal Bitcoin, not more MicroStrategy Bitcoin. He's looking at MicroStrategy's balance just grow and grow and grow, getting closer and closer to 1% of all the Bitcoin that'll ever exist. He's saying, I need a piece of that. He's talking about some FOMO. And if you want to spread the FOMO for Bitcoin, the best thing you can do for that is hit that like button. Help us, help our metrics, help the algorithm, and help permeate this message all across the YouTube sphere and all the platforms we're on here. Now it's time to talk about South Korea. South Korea gaming giant WeMade. They have a pretty big crypto bill to the tune of $41 million. I'm expecting 2025 tax bills to be pretty onerous for a lot of these crypto companies, and especially projects that, unlike what we do here, just peel off a third for old Uncle Sam out the gate. Chinese state media warns corrupt officials may be using cold storage crypto to avoid investigation. So now we got a little bit of cold water coming from the official Chinese media state channels. This one particularly was a newspaper, and they're warning that these officials are funneling crypto into cold storage to avoid investigations. I wonder if this is a canary in the coal mine. This is a cat's on the roof, or maybe they're going to try to do a takedown on certain Chinese officials. And so they're laying the groundwork, saying, and they're going ahead and priming their citizens. Hey, watch out for this. And when you see it, you know it's bad. What I like to call the persuasion technique, setting the table. They're setting the table right here. So they're saying 2023 annual meeting drew attention to the ways new technology like these assets have enabled bribery in China. This professor is saying that governance and regulation need to adapt to the modern types of corruption that crypto enables. Well, what about paper money? Paper money still in China? Isn't there still paper money in China?
Yes, it's a pilot program. They're trying to roll out fully, but it's not fully instituted for CBDCs yet. So,
what would you rather do if? All right, so let's role play this out a little bit. All right, you're a Chinese official, and I'm trying to bribe you, and I have two mechanisms to bribe you. Why am I bribing you, Kelly?
Oh, I got that good kung pao chicken, man.
Okay, so you have a really good. So you're going to give me your secret recipe.
I've got a restaurant chain, and you want to be able to park money there.
Okay. So I have two ways of bribing you. All right. So we live in China with probably the strongest internet controls in the entire world, the entire disk, some would call it. No one has a better stranglehold, at least on this scale. No one has a better job of policing and monitoring and surveilling their citizens than Chinese internet. And so I have two ways of bribing you. Am I going to use monetary system tied to the internet with a public blockchain? Or would I just slide cash across the table?
You would do it through a mechanism of control, subtle control, which is.
So I would pull an Epstein and get pictures of you?
No.
What are you talking about here?
No. Just this is one of the reasons why a lot of people are a little bit they're wary of CBDCs, because it's a subtle control. It's something that feels like maybe it's just a mechanism of money, but no. If somebody else has a control over that, they can shape how it is and what you're doing over time. Through controlling what you're able to participate in and how and when.
Bob from accounting got another one. Gold, like was it Menendez with the gold bars and the gold Rolexes,
and still in office.
Still in office. We have an official who is caught, or at least is under investigation for bribery. His last name is Menendez. I think it's Bob Menendez, and he was literally caught with several gold bars, gold Rolexes. And he was selling secrets to Egypt, and then he was speaking positively about Qatar. So those are the two, the Rolexes from Qatar, the gold bricks from Egypt. How cool is that, though? I got gold bricks from an Egyptian official.
That's how you're spending time in the Fed, Ken, for at least a decade. So.
He's going to be doing the pyramid. All right, 2 feet down, his head's going to be on the ground. They'll mount that.
Oh, sorry.
So Bob Menendez, right? I don't know if you're.
I got it right here. It's gold bars featured in Senator Bob Menendez bribery case. Are linked to a 2013 robbery record show.
Still in office. Is he Pennsylvania? Where is he from? Or is it Maine? I can't recall. I know it's colder than where I live. That's the only thing I do remember.
Senator Menendez. I don't know.
We'll figure it out. Someone in the chat, let us know. I just want to know, what the heck are you doing in your state? What is going on in your state? You let that guy just, take gold bars for selling secrets, and then he's, still an official. And so, when we champion blockchain, when we champion decentralization, we champion freedom, and we champion the way to fight back. And these are just tools. So we're doing a really good job just trying to expose the corruption. And I'm working on a video today. I'm going to record it today. The biggest, the most scandalous politicians of 2023 and how they traded, and potentially ways to copy trade. So we got a video coming out, and we can copy trade Nancy Pelosi, or at least her last trade. It wasn't that long ago, too. It might be time to jump in on that one. All right, let's talk about crypto. And now, actually, I want to jump to this Russian miner. What do we got going on over here? Russian crypto miner held hostage on Christmas Day. Now, this one, I just saw the headline and a little bit of the story. This miner was kidnapped on Christmas Day by McLean. No, wait. No, that's a different thing. No, he was told he would be framed for drug crimes if a 15 million ruble ransom wasn't paid. His $164,000. It was covered by Ren TV. The kidnappers drove to an unknown location before calling the brother on Telegram, and then they demanded the six figures there. They reportedly threatened to frame him by planting drugs and hand him over to the police if another failed to comply. If the brother failed to comply, they knew him personally, and the car used was also stolen, registered to a pensioner. All right, so registered to someone that's retired. They have detained the kidnappers. They're facing 12 years behind bars. And this is, amongst all the other crypto kidnappings, unalives that we've seen in the Bahamas and such, with allegations to three-letter agencies. What is going on in Russia, man? I'm surprised they only asked for 160. I guess you didn't have that much crypto. You got to be careful telling people how much crypto you have. The people that have like the 8 figures, 9 figures, they are always just saying, yeah, the biggest mistake I made was telling friends and family how much crypto I actually had, because then they all kind of look at you different, and then word might spread and you find yourself like this Russian guy or like a Jimmy Zong type situation though. Let's see, read some chat here. Jersey, that whole state is corrupt. That is normal for that cesspool. You travel a lot. You've been around. You've played in Springsteen or Springsteen town. You've played in Jersey. Yeah. Is Jersey an S-hole?
No, I mean, I think there's great people there. Unfortunately, the great people don't tend to translate over into the local political establishment. I think that's the issue. Of course, they've had a lot of trouble over the years. I just got closed out of my trade, but moved my stop loss up in profit. So that's good. No, I mean, I like Jersey.
Let's check on mine real quick. While you talk about Jersey.
No, Jersey. It's not even just Jersey. It's the entire political system that it feels like is married to the mainstream media now, which is why I think Vivek Ramaswamy is getting so much pushback. They won't even support showing some of the stuff that he's talking about because it's going again. He's calling the mainstream media out, and it's sad that the mainstream media should be separate from the politicians. But we've seen with documents and ownership records the types of people and the different organizations that own these mainstream media outlets, and why you see even ones that you think aren't on the same side of the field. When you see CNN and Fox, you think they're so polar opposite, but then you see these clips put together of different news topics. And
you zoom out, it's like 864, 256 of them.
Same thing.
Yeah.
It's a mechanism of division of unity. In our country, I think is really what the main focus is right now. I mean, I don't want to get into the whole topics about all the different gender stuff and all the different rights and you know what I mean? But we can see a huge uptick from 2012 on, and that didn't come from just small activist groups. It came from paid areas that have basically driven disunity within it. So we cannot come together and fight against the powers that be because we're so focused on something that is of their doing.
Speaking of powers to be, C90 with the Menendez facts here, $500,000 in cash stuffed in his jacket pockets. Yeah, he hung a bunch of suits and he put them on the inside breast pocket and had them hanging in there. Closet and a safe, 13 gold bars, 2 of them marked as 1 kilogram in weight. So questions about Lynn Alden.
Wait a minute. I have to ask you. I thought crypto and Bitcoin was the only thing used for illicit activities.
Well, that's what Elizabeth Warren says.
You're telling me that they did this with physical gold bars that they could just attach, and they were doing illicit activity with something other than crypto? Oh, what do we do?
Yeah. You know what? I actually took it back one step further. I tweeted out, I think 2 days ago, well, it's cash actually. So, let's ban cash. But then I thought that's not enough, Kelly. We need to take it a step further. We need to ban paper. Because this cash is printed on paper. Then I said, that's not enough. We got to
ban trees.
We got to ban trees.
Dude.
That's the only way to stop the criminals.
Everybody, throw it in the chat right now. Ban the trees.
Yeah, or the terrorists win. Or the terrorists win. Yeah. If we check in on that trade, everybody, I'll just tell you, kind of what I saw. I saw a little bit, slight bearish divergence on some very small time frames. So, oh my God, we're about to hit that take profit. Oh my God, guys, did you? Oh, it did. It did. It hit profit. Wow, y'all saw that live. I was explaining it and I didn't get to slide my take profit.
This is our struggle, DZ.
That's our struggle. We get stopped out in these trades. They end up being winners, and hey, you end up being up 18%.
Not bad. Don't be sad about 18%.
You can't be mad about taking profit there. So hey, that continues the streak of green trades live on the stream.
We got
I almost
double.
want to go back and count. What am I at now? Like 7 days?
We just doubled up. Both of us took profit.
All right. So you got a little streak going now too.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you know what? I share, I keep it transparent. And so, when we get a bad one, we'll know. I think the last bad one, I got stopped out on something for a sandwich. You guys were actually there. So I think I got stopped out for like $7. But after that, I think we got 5, 10 green ones in a row. All right. Let's see here. Stablecoin can help the current lending market. Yeah, it's just going to free up a bunch more cash on the sidelines there. But let's talk about this ETH and Sol. All right. Congressman buys some ETH. Hey, Georgia, Mike Collins, House Representative. We only know the range, pretty large range. He bought between $3,000 and $45,000 worth of ETH. So he has at least like 1 and some change. What was the high end on the number there? So he has between, I think 1 and, was it like 12, 1 and 15. So yeah, somewhere between 1 and 15 ETH. You know what, Mike Collins? That might be enough for me to just support you. So good job, Mike Collins, Georgia. I don't think I'm in your district, but I find that pretty cool. This was pretty big news as well. Etherscan acquired Solscan. Pretty big news there. Use Etherscan?
Yeah.
You ever use Solscan?
Never use Solscan.
The one advantage I would say Solscan had over Etherscan. Solscan, I believe, starts default night mode. Etherscan does not. I know that's a very, very small difference there. But yeah, Etherscan acquiring Solscan. We're seeing the consolidation of large crypto companies. This is something I've talked about. The network effects are continuing, just like in tech. How many apps do you use to rent a house from somebody? Like for a night?
Airbnb.
So how many apps are there besides that one?
Well, I know there's VRBO and there's a number.
But how
of
many
others.
people use? Really none. There's really just one. It's just like search engines. Sure, maybe you can use Bing or what do you use though? Use Google. So, we're seeing a consolidation of crypto in real time. Etherscan buying Solscan. I would say this just a trend that will continue years and years and years from now. I wish there was a cauldron pot full of something that would make all the hair run around. You'd run around silky smooth. Nair works for hair. I don't know. Maybe that'd be too much because the liquid is too rare. It'd be expensive. Never say how much you have, no matter the amount. People see dollars if you say crypto is doing well for you. Yeah, unless you're trying to convince them to buy. Then you're like, look how much my Doge has gone up. You should download Robinhood. We have some...
Be my exit liquidity.
No, we don't want to do that to our family.
No.
Vitalik, we want to do it to Vitalik retail is what I was going to finish that. I noticed that could have been misconstrued. Vitalik Buterin says project is super important. He pumped a project, everybody, and it was ENS. He pumped ENS. ENS then I think had a 50% pump. I've talked about ENS. Actually, I want to share this video I took Bone Fida. So I'd actually shared Solana's. There might be some opportunity here, folks.
Did you say Bone Fida?
Bone Fida, like bona fide?
Bona fide.
Like you have your bona fide, Solana name. So Bone Fida. I'm still not sure how you say it here. I'm not saying go out and buy this one. I'm saying, maybe go out and do some research here. This is Solana Name Service. So this is a Solana Name Service. That's the coin associated with it. I'm surprised ENS pumped and SNS didn't pump. Am I going to talk this into existence? Is this about a pump?
I don't know. Maybe. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not going to deploy any capital. I got a small amount there, so I'm not going to add to it. It felt like a good thesis, like ENS. ENS has revenue. Here's a dirty secret about crypto. There's a lot of projects and a lot of protocols that have crazy inflated values that have zero revenue today. Yeah, the roadmap, timeline, 10 years from now, everyone will use us. But I'm talking about money coming in today. ENS has active revenue, so they're minting ENS profiles, and then you have to pay money to do that. And even if you have an ENS profile, it's an annual fee. So it's a very, very lucrative market. And so I just figured that Solana Name Service coin, I feel like there's opportunity because the whole Solana ecosystem is pumping, but I haven't seen the SNS ecosystem pumping. So keep an eye out on FIDA, F-I-D-A. You're hearing it here first, folks. If it's 20% green candle tomorrow, you guarantee we're going to be patting ourselves on the back. Optimism, Arbitrum, tap new all-time highs. 2024, the year of L2s. I will say this, broadly speaking, I'm heading into newer coins versus older coins. I'd have to double check, but I'm pretty sure my ARB bag is larger than my Matic bag. I'd have to check. What would you rather have? I think Matic is a stronger project, and I think it's going to have more partnerships, and I think it's going to have more adoption. It's going to have more use cases. But I think ARB and OP might have more X's. What are your thoughts on that?
I would agree with that, but that goes back to the nature of understanding what your goals are, what your risk tolerance is, what your time horizon is, and making sure you get a little bit of exposure of both in those sort of in that context.
Yeah. Actually, Vumio, really big stuff happening with Vumio. I would keep an eye out on that one. We just got a really good, we're talking to a really good tech partner here. Short squeeze alert for January 3rd, 2 cryptos with potential to skyrocket. We're looking at them. Short squeeze, potential for Matic. So that might be one to check out the liquidation map on if I was you. So maybe keep an eye out on Matic liquidation map. So they're saying potential short squeeze. I actually pulled up, you remember short squeezes were really big news around AMC, GameStop. If you weren't involved in the ecosystem, then this is just a nice little graphic. Short squeeze occurs when many investors short a stock or bet that its price will go down and the stock's price shoots up instead. So it looked like it was about to drop, so people shorted it, but then they had better than expected earnings. Oh no, I have to cover my short position before it goes even higher. I have to buy as soon as possible, which then many more will do the same. They're all buying, and then the sudden surge in demand sent the stock price even higher, and then a short squeeze happened. So might see a short squeeze on Matic. Coin number 2, Cardano. Cardano with a potential short squeeze event. I know I just shorted Cardano. Guess what? I closed my short. It's already closed. I printed money with that one. I made some money because I am long-term bullish. Maybe I'll open a long, maybe, I don't know. So Cardano, potential short squeeze opportunity there. So I would look at the liquidation map on that one as well. Did they actually pull up the liquidation? Yeah, they actually have it right here. All right, so here's the Matic liquidation heat map. What are we looking at here, Kelly?
What you're looking at there, where you get the brighter colors, that's showing you higher, basically not order blocks, but orders that are in
orders that will close.
Orders that if the price gets to that threshold, those are levels at which areas are going to get liquidated or forced close. So if there's longs and the price starts moving down, then those orders below are forced closes, which is when you see those fast cascading price action to the downside or the upside when you pass those levels. It's because there's a cascade of liquidations or forced closures of the orders that are in the books at those certain levels. So you're seeing areas of interest that you want the price to either hold above or below, depending on which direction you're
yeah, you got someone shorting it here, and they're like, "There's no way price goes above this peak. I'm gonna go ahead and put it right there on liquidation or on stop loss." All right, so that's some levels to keep an eye out on. Coinbase going to add a new altcoin. This really won't pump things as much as usual, but Nick Demondi was talking about this one, Honey. So if I think maybe did they talk about it in the basement? Did he mention it?
No, not yet. Not Honey.
He did. He shared a tweet on it this morning.
Okay, so yeah, I saw him tweeting about it. Dog with hat price skyrockets 50%. I know you guys been talking about it a lot. We haven't really covered it too much. You know, it's a meme coin. It did a pretty good pump there. But then it had a correction. But despite its correction, it's still the 3rd most trending coin, according to Dex Screener. All right, let's pull up the price action here. You can see this is the 14-day chart. I mean, if it recovers, this is maybe kind of where you would like to maybe get in on. But then if you look at the 30-day chart, you're like, oh, okay, maybe it's going to go down to these levels. I would say this. I wouldn't mind a buy order under that 10 cents right there. So I like the people that got in right there. I think you're going to be pretty happy if you got in right there. Then if we do the 90-day, it's not even that old. So it looks like it launched the 13th of December. So that's when the coin's been out. People have been making pretty good money. I think BJ got in on that one, right?
Yeah, I
BJ.
mean, if you get in at the right time and you have a strategy, you could take advantage of these, but don't get in because you see everybody else talking about something pumping. Let that be a signal to you that you need to ramrod your diligence into making sure that you're looking to find these assets before other people so that you can take advantage of these explosive gains. And if it does run, wait for the pullback like we're seeing right there.
Right.
Wait for a little bit of a base and then hop in.
And here's the final chart we're going to show you because it's actually the best chart. It's XRP. Maybe we'll try to get a question in at the time. XRP multi-year low against Bitcoin. Could you pull up the XRP Bitcoin price chart on, maybe a weekly or something? So some are saying, hey, don't worry, it has time to turn this thing around, but it's now at a 3-year low against Bitcoin. It's about where it dropped when the SEC filed its lawsuit in the tail end of 2020. there. All right. Let's see. Dash Cam and Earn Honey. All right. That seems all right.
I think that's a Hive mapper. It might be connected to the Hive mapper.
Oh,
project,
so you're doing Google. You're working. You're okay. Now, see, that's something people would pay money for. I always say, is there a market for it? There's a market for that. So, all right, I do like that one. Jason, the Earth is flat. Break Nation. This dude calling people nerds. Hey, I'm a DNG. I'm a dork nerd geek for sure. But hey, nothing wrong with that too. All right. Are you looking at that chart?
Yeah, I'm looking at XRP Bitcoin. That's what you're just talking about, right?
Yeah, 3-year low.
It doesn't show that it's a 3-year low. It shows that we're right here. I guess January 20th. I guess it is 3 years. My math is all off. The last
24.
The last time it was this low is March 2021. So that's coming up.
It's coming on 3 years. Yeah.
But what I really like about this is we get these.
So they lied, though.
Well, I mean, it's pretty close.
They lied.
I keep forgetting we're already into year 2024. We're getting these moves to the downside and then pretty stiff moves to the upside, move to the downside. So are we in store for that next move to the upside? If so, we got obviously levels to watch, but you tell me, I feel like some of the positive sentiment that was really imbued and like just steaming out from all this XRP community it's kind of died off a little bit. I think people expected more following that ruling in July.
Yeah, completely losing the pump that we got, the 2x that we got in like a day or two there. Metaspawn summed up XRP holders very well, I believe. And let me know, have some honesty with yourself, have some accountability. Is this you? We saw that pump up to 90 cents. Most of us did not sell. Most of us just, I'm long-term. I got in higher. I'm still underwater. I ain't selling here. Metaspawn summed up XRP holders. I want XRP to pump so I can sell. I think that's a lot of people's story. And so I don't think there's enough people saying, I'm holding Bitcoin to 200K. I don't think there's that many people saying I'm holding XRP to $3. I'm holding XRP to $5. I think a lot of people say, man, as soon as I get close to my entry point, I'm getting out.
Yeah, I think people got a bit bored with it. They held for so long, they got the news, and then nothing's really happened. I do think that there's going to be a pretty big amount of sell pressure when we get near that dollar mark. So that's something I'd be watching when XRP, what the state of the industry is, the market is when we get to that level. But geez,
I mean, this guy has XRP logo as his profile pic. His name is XRPete, and he said, I would sell if it was a decent pump. That just sums it up right. That is the canary in the coal mine. All right, that's all we got. Is there anything you wanted to share, Kelly?
Yeah, we gotta, it's the beginning of the year. We wanted to give a little bit of a throwback to everybody. We got a deal going on at bitlabacademy.com. Get involved. You can get involved with our Discord. Get these different calls. I just saw Corduroy, one of our pro traders in here, was actually calling out ENS yesterday here in the Discord, here in the members area. We got JJ, Joshua Jake doing calls and special classroom sessions. TA Tim in here breaking things down on a daily basis. Stock trades, altcoins. We have so much here in the community in addition to all the courses and stuff that we have in BitLab Academy. You can use New Year 30, all one word, for 30% off your first month. Get involved with us there. And I'll be going live here with TA Tim in a little bit on the BitLab YouTube.
Hey, and if you watch the channel, you bought some Beam and you bought some Tia because of Drew, because of me, because, you're just like, all right, that's the 10th time I heard about it. Pat yourself on the back. We're eating today. We got them 30% pumps in a day where it's relatively not that grand, really. So, all right, folks, we'll see you. Hit that like button. See you in the basement. See you tomorrow. See you. You'll see me outside your window.
See me in BitLab, 3 minutes.